It was supposed to be an ordinary spring morning in Chicago. The clouds hung low, gray and bloated with rain, casting a dull hue over the Steel City skyline. Streetcars rattled along the tracks near Wabash Avenue, and commuters huddled beneath umbrellas, eyes glued to phones, minds already at meetings they hadn't reached yet. In the middle of the rush, 26-year-old Natalie Chen stood frozen on the sidewalk, dressed in an immaculate navy pantsuit. Her interview for a senior analyst role at one of the city's top tech firms was in 20 minutes, and her mother had already called twice to remind her how much this job would mean for the family name. Natalie's father had been one of the city's earliest tech pioneers. After his sudden death 2 years ago, her mother poured all of her ambitions into Natalie. Get the job, get the status, be respected. Natalie adjusted her blazer and stepped toward the crosswalk when something flickered in her peripheral vision, something out of place. A boy, maybe 10 or 11, huddled against the corner of a bank building, soaked to the bone. No jacket, no shoes. He wasn't begging, he was simply existing. Forgotten. For a second she told herself to keep walking. She had worked too hard to blow this opportunity. Her heels clicked forward 1, 2 steps, and then stopped. She turned around. "Hey," she said softly, kneeling down so he wouldn't feel threatened. "Are you okay?" The boy's lips trembled, but he didn't answer. His eyes were too tired, too old. "What's your name?" He whispered it. "Micah." She glanced at the time. 19 minutes. She hesitated, then shrugged off her coat and wrapped it around him. She took out her phone and called a rideshare. She canceled her interview. When they arrived at the hospital, the ER receptionist glanced warily at the drenched, shivering boy beside her. "Do you have legal guardianship?" "No, but he needs help." "We can't admit a minor without—" "Then use my name." She slid her ID and insurance card across the desk. "Run everything under me, please." The nurse paused. "Are you sure?" "I am." Micah was diagnosed with severe pneumonia and early-stage frostbite. As doctors began treating him, Natalie waited, sitting in a plastic chair, hair frizzed from the rain, phone vibrating non-stop in her back. She didn't answer. Hours passed. A social worker showed up and asked questions. Natalie answered as best she could, explaining where she found him, what he'd said, what he hadn't. Then the boy's name triggered something. "Micah, do you know your mom's name?" the social worker asked gently. He hesitated. "Amanda. Amanda Reeves." The woman's brows lifted. "Wait here." That night, as the rain finally let up, Natalie stood by the vending machines when a woman burst through the emergency room doors. Her face was lined with panic, eyes bloodshot from searching and crying. She looked at Micah through the glass, collapsed in a chair, and began to sob. Natalie stepped closer, unsure what to say. But the woman turned, and then froze. "You," she whispered. "I know you." Natalie blinked. I'm sorry, I don't—" "You're Paul's daughter, Paul Chen, from Loyola." Natalie's heart stumbled in her chest. "You're Natalie," the woman said again, stunned. He talked about you, years ago, when we were in the youth shelter together." A cold wave swept through her. Her father had always been a private man. She'd known he volunteered with underprivileged kids once, long ago, but he'd never said much, never told her names. Amanda wiped her eyes. "He helped me get sober, paid for Micah's first crib, told me if anything ever happened, to look for you." Natalie could barely speak. Her eyes drifted to Micah, then to the woman's face, now that she saw it, bore the faintest resemblance to a photograph her father kept in his desk. A younger Amanda laughing beside a Christmas tree, one that she had assumed was just a client or a volunteer. In the days that followed, Natalie stayed close. She bought clean clothes, soup. She read Micah books as he recovered. Amanda told stories about her father, things no one else had ever told her, how he stayed late to teach coding, how he never judged, how he treated Amanda like family. By the end of the week, Natalie didn't feel like she'd missed an interview. She felt like she'd finally arrived. 6 months later, Amanda had a steady job, Micah was back in school, and Natalie had launched a nonprofit in her father's name, the Paul Chen Trust, focused on helping at-risk youth get access to shelter, education, and support. Her mother didn't understand at first. "You threw away your career to play babysitter?" "No," Natalie said quietly. "I found a better one." On Micah's 11th birthday, Natalie gave him a tablet filled with books and coding apps. "This was my dad's. Now it's yours." He hugged her fiercely. "You saved my life." I smiled. "Maybe, but you gave mine meaning." And as Amanda brought out a homemade cake with 9 uneven candles, Natalie realized something her father must have known all along. Sometimes family isn't about blood or tradition or plans. It's about the people who make you stop, turn around, and do the right thing, even if it changes everything. Because kindness never wastes time, and love never asks for credentials.